whatever you want to. I'm going to turn off my Elgato because it's just not working for me. I'm going to actually increase this a little bit larger, just kind of fill out the screen, let you see me, look me in the eyes. But really, what I want to talk about is you're here at Raider Gaming, and usually I do this in the YouTube videos, and I talked about this a little bit more earlier. Um, we use books in school all the time, and we always talk about how books are amazing and they tell morals and they give us ethics and everything that books have. It's good storytelling. Well, I say yes and no. Like, there's a ton of terrible books. I mean, there's a there's a lot of bad books, but I really enjoy books. I've always enjoyed books. I'm a person that learns by reading. I don't learn by audio. Like, if you give me a speech, I'm not going to learn it. I might remember a snippet here and there. I'm not going to remember just by watching a TV show. I might. I learned by interacting. I learned by reading. And for me, learning by books was awesome. It was easy, it was fun, it was educational. I learned about ancient Egypt in like third grade by reading the textbook. And the textbook was whatever the school provided us. And it was just fun to go through and just read the textbook while I was supposed to be in social studies or whatever it was called at the time. I had a ton of fun with it. And all I did was read. And I passed all the tests because all I did was read. But I never paid attention to anybody. I almost feel bad. No, I don't. Um, but with that, there's people that just get bored with the way school's structured. And I was one of them. I really got bored with the way school's structured. And if you think that I'm always harping on education or I'm always saying something about education, I'm always saying, oh, education's this, education's that. The whole reason why is because here with Ritter Gaming, the whole point of this is I'm trying to make the world better, one person at a time, one place at a time, trying to do something. And if you don't think that a single streamer or a single person can help make the world better, I think that you're wrong. I think that there's always a way, a message somehow that we can go through and make the world better, each and every individual, whether it's going through and finding people to help through GoFundMe, to help some sick kids through the I'm sorry, if there's kids that we can go help with Extra Life or Children's Miracle Network, or I mean, there's St. Jude's. There's so many different ways that we can help sick kids. There's also ways that we can help kids before they're sick, or even if they're not ever going to be sick in their life, there's a way that we can help them. And the number one way we can help kids and we can help the future generations is education. And this is why we have to go to school. This is why every civilized country has to go to school, is because education is the only way to continue to improve society and continue to make everybody's life better. But what we found right now is that education in the United States is kind of at a standstill. And yes, we did the No Child Left Behind Act, and it didn't really fulfill its purpose. It's not doing what we thought it would do as a country. And it standardized testing. And the thing with standardized testing, like if you look at school, there's a couple of really good songs about why school is kind of weird right now. One of them is like you can do I can't say the words right now, but you can do Pythagorean theorem. Thank you. Pythagorean theorem. Wait, can you balance a checkbook? Do you know how to pay taxes? Do you know how to vote? No. Like, these are things that are fundamental to everything that we do on a day-to-day basis, but instead we go through and we can't do any of them. And I realize I'm still in the wrong thing for Twitch real quick. I need to switch to just chatting. Uh, but it's this thing where like if we go through and we can actually change what we're doing, um, I would I would love it. Like I would love to be able to change school myself and say this is what I found to be super helpful and super informative. But I don't have that power. But we as a society do have that power to say, if I am paying taxes to help with education, I can go through and help say, this is what I think that we need to focus on. And really, if we're here to like help society be better and to continue to improve education, does everybody need to know how to do algebra and know how to do calculus, know how to do, advanced math theories. I don't think so. My mom was a high school educator and she did math. She's a high school math teacher. She'll probably tell you that most people can tap out at balancing a checkbook. I don't know. Like, it's great. If you can try and see if you have the aptitude to do that, I'm all about it. But at the same time, not everybody has that aptitude. And the reason why I'm getting on this tangent is we're talking about ways to make everything better. And we're playing Halo tonight, and we're playing Halo ODST, and I captured a little bit of B-roll in the background. Not very well because capture card decided it didn't want to work tonight. But I thoroughly enjoy ODST. I thoroughly enjoy Halo for a variety of reasons, and it's because there's so many talking points about it. There's so many questions to ask. I remember playing Halo, and I'm like, how did we get super soldiers? How is there a single Spartan 2 left? Like, this doesn't make sense. Where did he come from? He's taller than everybody. Why? What's going on? So I immediately went from the video games into the novels when the novels were released, and then Halo 2, and then the novels for Halo 2, and then the prequel novels that came, or not prequel, but the yeah, prequels. And just all these books and this entire universe, and there's 13 games, 15 books, 6 comic books, and it's just a ton of information. But why such a rich universe? Well, there's a lot of moral ambiguity to this. There's a lot of different threads that have to be pursued because it's a huge universe. And I I personally thoroughly enjoy talking about the way that we can use these games to actually go and have fun, and discuss moral and ethical choices with our kids. So when we're sitting there and we're talking about a moral choice, well, is it moral to go through and exterminate an entire species because they don't abide by our religion? No, it's not. I think that's pretty cut and dry. I think most people would understand or say that yes, genocide based on religious aspirations are it's just a bad idea. But what Halo gets into is a little bit beyond that, and this isn't really explained until later in the video games, but pretty clearly in the first couple novels, especially in Contact Harvest. Contact Harvest, I'm not going to spoil a lot of it, but basically, you find out that one of the prophets discovers that humans are reclaimers. And when you're playing Halo, you're like, why am I considered the reclaimer? I don't understand this. I don't understand what that title is. Maybe it's just Master Chief himself. No, it's humanity. Humanity are considered reclaimers. And to be a reclaimer is within the Forerunners architecture, like it's a special mantle that humanity has. Well, the prophets have been telling the entire covenant that they are the reclaimers and that they will lead everybody on the great journey. And the great journey will bring them to somewhere. I don't even know, but it'll give them something better than what they currently have. Prophets are full of it, and they know it. And they know that if the truth is discovered, that they will then go through and not have a leg to stand on. There's no truth behind them. There's nothing underneath them. They can't continue to basically hold their position in the covenant society. So if they're going to lose their power, well, they're going to fight to not lose their power. Let's be real. And that's exactly what happens in Contact Harvest is they discover that they're going to lose their power if this truth comes out. It's immediately like decisions made. Hey, we are going to go through and say that humanity doesn't need to exist, that they're heathens, that they're terrible. And then they just attack. Now, mind you, this is not too far off the basis of what the Covenant's done to all the other species. And this also gets back kind of into the fundamentalism. And it's the Covenant take every single race and every single species that is within the Covenant, and they've nearly wiped out every single one of them. And the reason is so that they could rebuild the societies, they could rebuild the species to serve the Covenant better. And I mean, everything from the grunts, who are the Gognoi? I hope I said that right. I probably didn't. I mean, that would be a true nerd moment if I actually said that right the first try. Uh, they're they breathe methane. They don't breathe oxygen. They're just treated terribly within the covenant. I mean, just absolutely awful treatment within the covenant. And they're just thrown out in front of the elites and then in front of the brutes, and they don't want to be there. And they just keep getting harassed and harangued and destroyed and stepped on and killed, slaughtered, just treated like subclasses and second class citizens, and it's awful to see. Uh, this happens on Earth with humans treating humans this way. How is that morally acceptable that we treat other people this way? Within Halo and the books and the extended universe, it's different species from different planets with different technological advancements, but it's still wrong. Then we get here and there's only one species, there's only one humanity, and yet we still treat each other like trash. I don't get it. I don't understand it. So I've been tweeting out over the past couple of days. If you guys want to, y'all can follow me on Twitter. It's at Raider Gaming. Um, but like, just be the good you want in the world, or be the change that you want to see in the world. Whatever it is, like it's usually sometime early in the morning. I'll tweet this out, and today's actually it was today's or yesterday's legitimately made me like stop, and I cried because it was this YouTube video where this dude's titled it basically like I had to deal with the kids playing in my driveway, and his face and everything about it made you think that he was going to be really upset and really mad at this kid. It turns out he was like the most wholesome dude and built a racetrack in his driveway. And I can't hold it back. Like I thought it was awesome. I thought that just hey, this might be my driveway, but everybody walks past my driveway and this kid's on like a little like scooter bike, right? Um it's not a pedal bike and it doesn't have training wheels. Oh my goodness, what are they called? The bikes the kids have. Balance bike. So the kid's on a balance bike and he can go straight fine, but the guy makes like a racetrack and the kid gets better every single day. I think it's awesome. I think it's wholesome. Um so I think that Halo takes the humanity out of the equation, and you can really have that conversation about like is this right for one species or one people to treat another this way? And you can have that conversation. It's agnostic and it's completely separate from everything else that you're talking about. And then you can bring it back and talk about, well, why do people do this? Like, what is the point of people going through and treating each other this way when we go through and it's alien species in a fictional game and we say, no, like, this isn't right. And then we turn around and we say, oh, yeah, we can do it in real life. It doesn't make sense. Um, another one that I really like from talking about this is how the prophets and the covenant managed to get everybody to just blindly follow them. And I don't know if people understand just how there's two ways that they did this, and it's really interesting to talk about the two ways that the covenant is basically following the prophet's will. And the prophets are a species, right? They're at the top. They have forerunner. Excuse me. Mm. The prophets have forerunner technology, which is leaps and bounds above everybody else. Uh, they're not a warlike race. They're just incredibly aggressive, but like their bodies are very fragile compared to the Sankili, which are the elites, or against the brutes, which look like giant apes, right? But they have the technology, so they're able to wage warfare and subjugate other people. So they're able to literally destroy societies and hold societies in fear of themselves. No yawning on stream. Dude, look at my eyes. Like I'm exhausted. I'm probably going to finish up this second point and call it good. Um, but I really think that like we talk about how the prophets like keep everybody through the force of arms, but what we don't talk about is how the prophets for desensitized, basically they dehumanized. I can't say the word. Dehumanized. Thank you. Dehumanized humanity, and this is really evident in uh actually Halo 2. So it's not so much in Halo 1, but Halo 2, the cutscenes, and everybody complains in Halo 2 they spend like 55% of the game as the Arbiter. But if they didn't do 55% of the game as the Arbiter in Halo 2, you wouldn't have the setup for Halo 3 and the moral obligation that he has, and you wouldn't have we as we as gamers just wouldn't have so much buy-in and agency to complete this game because you realize just how evil the prophets are and how misguided they are because they take all of humanity's basically reason for existing, right? Like, yes, they're not technologically advanced, but then they go through and they say that they're unworthy, they're not they're not worthy of existing at all. They can't go in the halos. They're not worthy of joining the covenant. They're not a sentient species. We need to eradicate them. And they've gone through and they've subjugated other species and put them on the brink of extinction before, but they haven't gone out and 100% just committed genocide. And yes, the prophets are scared of actually going through and losing their power within the covenant, right? Because humanity are the reclaimers. But at the same time, the method that they're able to get the covenant to blindly go through and commit this genocide, it's one of the two. The one is blind fear because their society could potentially be erased from history. And the other one is dehumanization of making humanity not worthy. They're not real sentient species. It's like putting down animals. So we just need to wage this war and get rid of them. And this seems like it shouldn't be that big of a talking point, but look at what happens every time we wage warfare on Earth. I mean, I can talk about any conflict. I can talk about the current modern conflict and how people are taught mentally, like whether it's religion or it's politics or it's just human to human scale, like these people are so stupid. I don't believe that they can't even imagine or think of these concepts the same way I can. They must just be too stupid to live. But that's a little bit hot take. I'm not really going to get into that. I have a much better example from World War II because my senior thesis coming out of college for my undergraduate was about comic books in the 40s and 50s. And this is, you go through and you have Captain America, you have Superman, you have Wonder Woman, and it's absolutely awesome cultural reflection because you see Captain America punching Hitler, and you love to see Captain America punching Hitler. But then you go through and you look at the rest of the comic books and you look at the rest of the cartoons, and the frontline grunt soldiers aren't humans. They're not people. They're apes. They're Huns. They're grotesque. They don't look like people. We're fighting this enemy that's not human. So we can go through and can just slaughter them. And then you go over to the Japanese comics and comic books and all these cartoons, and they have fangs and they have claws and they just look vile and evil. They look like a cross between a bat and a weasel and I don't even know. And it's just this evil dehumanization of people. And it's supposed to be so that you can fight them easier and you can consider them less than human. And sure, it might have worked in World War II, but instead of going through and using our ability to communicate now, we do the same thing. And instead of doing it against somebody that's committing genocide now, because there's plenty of places throughout the world that have committed genocide from early, like the end of World War II until now, there's plenty of countries throughout Africa that have committed heinous war crimes that we haven't stepped in and actually stopped. we do dehumanization against people within our own countries, our own societies, within first world countries. We say that these people are too stupid. They don't support us. I don't like what they're saying. I don't like what they're doing. I don't agree with what they're doing. So they must not be human. They must not be thinking with their entire brain capacity. Instead of saying, "Hey, buddy, hey, why do you think what you think? I'm really curious because I think this, but for me to understand what you were thinking, I need to shut up and listen. So why don't you tell me the basis of your thought process? And then let me ask questions. And yeah, you might get mad. And I might get mad. But instead of getting mad at each other, let's take a deep breath. Let's talk about what our differences are. Let's talk about why I think this, or why, you know, I want these people to protect me, or I want this in my life, or I think that we should have XYZ. I don't know. There's a lot of topics, but I'm super tired. So getting them to actually roll off my tongue is incredibly difficult right now. But it's all about communication. It's opening those lines of communication. Because, and oh, Sensei, I don't ever get to go on his stream. I think it's Stream Sensei. He's a really good streamer, really good content creator. I enjoy his clips on Twitter all the time. He put out a great video this morning, and I retweeted it, and it is one of the best ones that I've seen in a while. And it's really just like, what's your beef with these people? Is it really that deep? Why not just like suck it up and talk to them? Because the power of communication, the power of talking from one person to the next person is incredibly powerful. The ability to go through and say, I understand what you are saying, but I do not understand where it is coming from. Please explain it to me. It's incredibly powerful. Being able to talk to people and say, you know what? I disagree with you about this, but I still love you. You're still my brother. You're still my sister. That's so important. And yeah, I know that we say, like, if somebody's toxic, you got to cut them out of your life. But at the same time, we have to be able to look at people that we consider toxic in some other aspect, way, shape, or form and talk to them. Thanks, awful. Thanks, awful. You have to be able to talk to them because who is it? Upper Echelon YouTuber, Upper Echelon Gaming. He goes through and he has hot takes all the time. And he tries to back them up with facts. And he's kind of a bit like Ben Shapiro. He cherry picks stats. It's okay. Like, you have numbers to back you up. But he put out a thing. He quoted UN Women Gaming, or UN Women's Society, where they said 48% of gamers are female. Okay. Well, they cherry picked the stat and said that 48% of gamers are female, but they included mobile gaming, which includes Candy Crush, Bejeweled, Match 3s. Last time I checked, that's sold under games in the App Store. So yeah, that's gaming. Is it hardcore gaming? Is it Destiny? Is it Halo? Is it Red Dead Redemption, Grand Theft Auto? I mean, you can gatekeep all you want, right? And I've had people gatekeep forever. But to gatekeep is also a form of basically saying you're not worthy. You are not allowed in my boys club because you don't play the same games I do. I can do the same thing I have a PC. I have a great PC. I have 2 great PCs. I also have an Xbox. I have a Switch. My wife has a PC. She plays PC games. She plays games on her phone. My wife does not consider herself a gamer because it's not what she does for relaxation. I consider myself a gamer because, 1, I stream. 2, I play games to relax. I play games to have fun, and I play games to hang out with friends. She would much rather go hang out with friends on their back porch, drink a glass of wine, and just talk or watch a movie. That's what she wants to do. If she identifies herself as a gamer, then she identifies herself as a gamer. If the UN Women want to identify her as a gamer because she plays a game on her phone, then so be it. They can use it as a stat. I don't care. But he goes through and he gatekeeps. I disagree with that. What he ended up doing was creating a firestorm around his brand, and he created controversy so that he got additional people to subscribe to him, to follow him on Twitter, people of like minds. And the reason why he got so much attention was not because they already knew where he was, because they already would have subscribed to him. He got more recognition and more press because the people that disagreed with him, instead of asking him why and having a conversation and potentially changing his mind, decided to retweet him and say how wrong and how cowardice and how ignorant he was. Why? All you're doing is creating a bigger fire. All you're doing is making gaming look more toxic. All you're doing is making society not want more people to be gamers. Gaming is my relaxation. Gaming is what I do for fun. Gaming is where I go to meet new people. I'm on Twitter to talk to other gamers, to create a better society, to see who's having a good time. I talk to people and see if they're having fun in gaming. If you think that Twitch is making me money, you're sorely mistaken. I don't even want to know how much money I've sunk into YouTube and Twitch to try and create a platform to help people become better. It doesn't matter. That costs us an investment in the future. Why am I investing in the future? Because I have 3 little boys and I want them to grow up in a world that is better than the world that I grew up in, which was better than the world that my mother grew up in, which was better than the world that her mother grew up in, that's better than the world that my father and his father and his father grew up in. We can continue this trend, or we can let the overabundance of hurt feelings, of them versus us, of just wanting to be right. If that gets in the way, I've got the word for it. Pride. If pride gets in the way of having a discussion, then pride is our enemy. If pride makes the world a worse place, then pride is our enemy. And with that, I'm at 11 o'clock. I'm going to go to bed. I do have one more talking point for Halo. I'm going to put it into the YouTube video. This will be up probably early next week. I should have some time to edit it, record it, edit it, do all the nice stuff with the YouTube video. But you know what? I'm Wes. This is Ritter Gaming. We are here to try and make society better, one person at a time. I enjoy everybody that stopped in tonight, chatted, waved, lurked, whatever. You guys are absolutely amazing. You guys, gals, everybody, absolutely amazing. I love you. You'll have a great night.